Hey, what's going on, G-Ballers? Today, I have a new knife here to share with you coming in from Tenable. If this is your first time stopping by, welcome to GBall Vision. Drop a comment down below and let me know what your EDC is for today. This is going to be a newer release for Tenable knives. And if you're not familiar with Tenable, they are the sister company to Concept Knives. So for all intents and purposes, you are going to be getting a Concept build here. You're just going to be getting slightly different materials. So you're still going to be getting that same excellent build quality, and in some cases, like this knife here, this is the Raven, and sometimes Tenable has been known to step it up with some of their materials, and like in this case, we are going to be getting a carbon fiber handle here, it looks like. Now, I'll have to double check. I don't know if this is a full carbon fiber handle or if that is a laminate. We'll look at that here in a moment. We're perfectly centered up. Now, they have done in the past a full carbon fiber handle, and it was in Nitro V, and I believe it was down around like 60 bucks. And I think I still have that knife, actually. Yeah, it's right here, actually. It is the Model 6, and they did a twill carbon fiber, full carbon fiber handle, and kept the price very fair. And I wouldn't be surprised if this is the same thing, but I'll double check that. As far as the steel choice goes, we are going to be looking at 14C28N, which is a perfect steel for a knife in this price point, in my opinion. We're going to be looking at dual thumb studs for the deployment here. And I have to say, guys and gals, over the last 6 or 8 crossbar lock knives that Tenable and Concept have done, they have just gotten better and better, so, and very quickly. The first 1 or 2 that came out didn't have enough spring strength, and I think they got that feedback from everyone, right? And they went back and they must be using new springs, because these are nice and strong, exactly what you would want out of a crossbar lock knife, and the action is fantastic. Those studs are up a little higher, and it gives you a little bit more room to get underneath and really fire them out. As far as the reverse flick, you can easily get underneath that stud, shoot this thing right out if your index finger don't stop it, which happens to me a lot for some reason. And we are looking at a deep carry clip that is going to be right hand carry only. We have a G10 backspacer, or no, that looks like carbon fiber, don't it? It has like the weave through it. I'll have to look at that as well. And then we have a hidden lanyard post down here. This also feels like a really good size. Let's go ahead and we'll get a measurement here. So we are looking at 3 inches of cutting edge, and we'll give it about 3 1/8 of total blade, coming down there right at 7.5 inches overall. And to put that in better perspective, we have the Kaiser drop bear and Benchmade bug out. Now, this is going to be a little bit bigger than something like the drop bear, and it's going to be very similar to something like the Benchmade bug out. Now, one thing I do want to say is, and you might have saw it, I didn't say, but it comes with an extra set of Omega springs for the knife, which is a really nice touch. And I also believe that these are a little bit stronger. Now, I'm not 100% certain about that. That has been something I have heard from people who have taken the stock ones out and messed with both, and it seems like these are stronger springs. So I'll have to dig in and find out myself if that's the case, and it really might vary from pair to pair, set to set, because, you know, I'm doubting that the quality control on those Omega springs is really intense. It's probably better than it used to be, but it's probably still not insanely good, right? So it's not a hard thing for them to send out if they need to. That's why they send an extra set with it. And I have to say also, while we're off on the tangent anyway, that I have owned well over 100 crossbar lock knives. I own well over 100. And that Benchmade bug out that you just saw on the table has been flipped thousands of times. And I've flipped many a crossbar lock knives for very long times. I've never failed any crossbar locks. I've never had any Omega springs fail. And I'm not saying they don't. I know that they do. But somehow, some way, I have never had Omega springs fail on me. And I've had people comment and tell me that they've bought in their first crossbar lock knife and the Omega springs broke, within a few days. They got a replacement and those broke within a few days. So really odd. I know that it happens, but I also know other people who have been around knives for a long time, had many, and never had any issues. So I understand, though, that they are a piece of metal that probably don't get the quality control that we might think that they should, right? They're probably produced at such a high level that it's really hard to QC them, I'm going to guess, because they probably do millions of them in a day, would be my guess. Going back to comparisons, we got the Raccoon and the Parrot 3 out here, and you'll see the Parrot 3 is going to be pretty much right in line, and the Raccoon is going to be just a touch longer, but bug out, Parrot 3, Raccoon, very close to this knife here, the Raven. We'll get out one of our GBall Vision and 50 Ways hanks out, and we'll check this pocket clip, and we'll see what it's looking like here in the pocket. They have used this clip many times, Tenable has, and it's a good clip. It's not anything crazy, but it works really well. I wish it was a little bit shorter, but it does work very good, and in the hand, it feels very good. So it does what it is supposed to do. Your knife, you'll have a little bit poking out of the pocket there. That's a good indicator, though, where your knife is and getting a hold of that knife. And it's going to have good retention on it. There's plenty of clearance in there. Now, the pocket clip isn't recessed, but the screws are. And you can tell where the pocket clip actually starts there. It's actually rounded and chamfered off. So your pocket, unless very, very, very thick in the case of this clip, you're not going to have any issues getting this over your pants pocket seams or any seams for that matter. And as always, there is a coupon code down in the description for 50 Ways baked in. Now we'll switch gears here and we'll get the arch nemesis out and we'll give this thing a weight check. I invite you all to play along. I like to guess the weight here of these new knives, and I invite you to play along. Put your guess down in the comments. Let me know what you think this knife weighs right here. I'll give us one more look here at the length of this knife. Going to come in at 7.5 strong with a 3 1/8 inch blade here. So they do have a couple different versions. I did see that this is I guess this is a carbon fiber laminate with G10. So it's not a pure carbon fiber handle. The way that it's done is, so this must be layered G10. I was thinking this was a full piece of carbon fiber, but I guess that it is not. But it looks good nonetheless. And like I said, they do have micarta, they have G10. There's a couple different variations, G Mascus. So they're probably all going to be a little bit different in weight. They do have nice steel liners here though. And like I said, a backspacer made out of the same material. I'm gonna guess this is probably up around like a 3.6, 3.7. I usually have a pretty good feel for that area. 3.7. Oh! Ooh, yes. Oh, look at... The scale said, not so fast. That's why I'm going to throw you against the wall someday. 106 grams, and it must be like 3.75 or 6, 7, 8, 9, something like that for it to go up to 3.7, because this scale is very accurate, we should say. It should be. I paid quite a bit for this stupid scale. 104 grams, though, and 3.7 ounces. Not too shabby. I like the weight with 3.7. Like, to me, 3.7 and up to, I don't know, maybe like 4.5, 5, somewhere in there. That just feels like a good, solid weight. We're looking at 0.48 for our handle thickness here and 12.1 millimeters. We'll go from millimeters here, 2.91 millimeters on the blade stock and 114 thousandths. And I've said this before, we could just try to read the stats off the website, but a lot of times I don't think they are as thorough as they could be. So that's why we do a thorough look here on the unboxing. I cover everything that I think can be covered. And if I'm not, let me know. 21 thousandths behind the edge, and we slipped off there. So we're going to have to go on. Back on here. And 50.51 millimeters. Let's see how the Raven cuts out of the box. We'll get a check on this edge here, and let's see what we got. Looks very good. Stonewash looks good. 14C takes a beautiful edge. That drop point's going to be nice and pokey. Let's see what we have here for our edge. It is nice and sharp. Yeah. And sharpening choil looks good. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Could be it could be a little better in my unexpert opinion, but that's still pretty good. I know a lot of people have complained that Concept doesn't always have the best sharpening choils. I think they've been getting better with it. We have a non-told pivot here, so we'll see what our hardware situation is. We have T8s on the body here, and we have T8 on the pivot. As far as the pocket clip goes, that is going to be old, tried and true T6. So T6, pocket clip, T8, everything else. Crossbar lock, it protrudes out just enough to where it's not going to hinder you from, getting on the handle. Sometimes they stick out too far. Sometimes they don't stick out far enough. And in the case of this one, it is right on the money. I have no complaints with the crossbar lock, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure their crossbar locks are adjustable. Let me know if I'm wrong about that, but they weren't, and then I think they became adjustable. I could be wrong, though, and maybe it depends on the model. I don't know, but I think they are adjustable. Say this is too strong for you, well, you can lighten it up a little bit. Say you want it stronger, you can definitely get stronger springs, whether that's off of a website or whatnot, or try the ones out that they send you. There's a good chance that they could be even stronger. We'll go ahead and we'll close this thing up. It is centered up. Nice blade stock there. A little bit of jimping on the handle. You know, I do like jimping. I understand that it's not something that's needed. You know, it doesn't have to have it. But I feel like, you know, and it's personal opinion, I feel like it's a nice to have thing. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense, but it's a kind of a nice to have thing in case you do need it, right? Just in that off chance that you do. But other than that, you know, missing lefty love here. It should definitely be a left-hand friendly knife, being as it's a crossbar thumb stud knife. I'd say that's a, you know, and I don't know if the other models are any different, but definitely should have, you know, have that extra screw and, you know, just put another screw there. It'll look fine. And then that gives lefties the ability to switch the pocket clip over and carry this knife lefty if they want to. Or there's righties out there who, you know, are righty, but they switch some of their knives over to lefty so that way they can carry it in the left pocket as safely as they can, right? Which is understandable, and I've thought about doing that also. We're going to go ahead and give this thing a couple of taps. If I didn't say, this one's coming in at like $68, but I do have a coupon code for their website, so that would knock a few extra bucks off. The micarta versions are only $59, so you're talking even more with the discount code, and then the G10 is coming in at $56.89. So, you know, you can get the G10 and micarta variants for well under $60. And I like this design. I wish it was a little bit bigger, but, you know, it's got a good weight. It is at that 7.5 strong mark, you know, so it's not, it doesn't quite piss me off like, you know, 2.99, you know, blades do. That just really irritates me. Or the 3.1s really irritate me. There's just no reason for it. I'd rather it be 2.99, to be honest. Ooh, this sounds good. Sounds real strong. Ooh, yeah. You can just hear it. It might not come through on the microphone, but there's times where, and it's with various locks, but sometimes you can just hear the lockup, and that is nice and strong how they have that done in there. Does look like the crossbar is a decent size, but just listen. Oh, nice and strong. Good job. Concept and Tenable continue their win streak here. We have never had a Concept or Tenable knife fail the lockup test since I started doing the lock test. You know, and that's been 2 years or going on 2 years. And that's a pretty, and I have checked out a ton of Concept and Tenable knives in that time frame. So that is an awesome feat. That just tells you they're paying attention to the quality control, you know, as much as they possibly can. It is a human thing. There will always be mess ups and screw ups, even with the most expensive knives. You better believe it. I've had my own experiences with, you know, even the smallest of batches of knives. So mistakes do happen, especially on that scale. But for the most part, Concept, Tenable, they do a great job. Sure, they have some kinks and whatnot, like the clip on this one. Sometimes it's a sharpening choil, but, you know, they'll take our feedback and they'll eventually get that circled into what they're doing. So, you know, let them know that you wish it was lefty. You know, if this is a model you want and wish it was, or whatever, right? The more they hear feedback from viewers, the more they're going to be making them changes and implementing them changes. That's what I try to, you know, I can say things to them, but I'm just one person who don't pull any weight. So, you know, but if it comes from many people on a specific thing or a certain change, that's going to really make them want to do it. So, you know, keep that in mind also. You'll have to let me know. What do you think of the Tenable Raven here? You know, the micarta one, really enticing at 59 bucks. And if you like a little bit of flair with the carbon fiber G10 laminate, or if you want to go the basic roll with the G10. Now, they do have a red and black G-Mascus variant that comes in at $68.69, and that also looks really good. It actually has this same look right here to that Model 6. And that one is available. There are a couple of these sold out, and I think there's a lot of the Model 6s sold out, but I'll have them all linked down in the description and the coupon codes down there as well. Let me know what you think of Tenable and Concept over the last year or so. I look forward to hearing from you. Make sure you share this video, hit the thumbs up button. Both of those things help out tremendously. If you're new to the channel and you enjoy knives and EDC, you're in the right place. Make sure you subscribe because I release daily videos just like this. I'd love to have you here. I'll pop up a couple of new videos. Go check one of them out. Have yourself an awesome day. Thank you all again for watching. I'll catch you on the next one.